Today we're going to go through the Australian versus Japan World Cup qualifier that happened during the week, as well as the future next week's A-League, plus the Western Sydney Wanderers captain heading to Saudi Arabia. As well, we're going to go through everything in the AFL trade week, the current trades, the trades that happened, and the trades to come. So we've got a massive show for you here today. But first, we've got some Mbop. We're back with the 3SSR Sports Report with Liam and Jeff. It's currently 11 degrees here in the Swinburne Hawthorn area. Top of 21 today. And it is currently 13 past 10. So we'll start off today with the Australia versus Japan World Cup qualifying match that happened during the week. Did you get to watch the game?
Yeah, I watched a lot of it, and I saw an amazingly competitive game. And I mean, Japan really brought it to the Australians. I mean, you can see how close it was when you see that Japan had 4 shots on target while Australia had 3. And also, Australians, they blocked 2 shots, but Japan hadn't. So, let's just dive right into this. Do you think that the Australians had accurate goal-scoring opportunities if the Japan didn't stop 1 shot in that game?
I think they did, but I honestly do think Australia was lucky actually to get the draw with the penalty.
The penalty, exactly.
Yeah. Because what? Haranaki.
Yeah.
Yep. Kicked the goal in the first 5 minutes.
First 5 minutes, that was a shocker.
And I was like, cause a few weeks ago when they played Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia got a goal in the first few minutes as well, which was a 2-2 draw. So lucky enough for Australia to get the penalty in the 52nd minute.
Well, what stuns me about the Australians game is I'm looking at the statistics here on the Australian Football Federation Australia's website, and I'm looking here, and it says that the shooting accuracy for Japan was 66.7, and Australian shooting accuracy was 30%. But when you look at all this as well, you would actually see that shots inside the box, Australia were actually up. They had 6 shots inside the box, while Japan only had 4. So did you watch much of the game?
I watched parts of it, yeah.
So why can't they kick straight? Why are they not accurate in front of goal?
Oh, I just think they had the yips.
Are you just saying you think it's just a one-off kind of thing?
Oh, I think it is, yeah. Well, Australia's they're the second best team at the moment in their conference, with Saudi Arabia first with 3 wins, 1 draw, and Australia's with 2-2.
Yeah.
But talking about Saudi Arabia, actually, I just said to you before that their next game, which is on November 15th, as well as Australia are playing Thailand.
Yeah.
I think they're playing Thailand. I'm not 100% sure. If Saudi Arabia can defeat Japan, and then they can go, and then they have played Thailand after that in March next year, who Thailand hasn't won a game, they'll be, 5 wins. Well, and that'll be enough to get them to Russia in 2018.
Well, you should never underestimate Saudi Arabia. You should never underestimate them. If you actually I used to watch football in Saudi Arabia. That is an intimidating sight to see. It is just thousands and thousands of people packing a stadium, and they've got amazing resources because the royal family, I think they actually own a team in Saudi Arabia that played the Wanderers in the Asian Champions League. That's actually owned by the royal family. So they got money behind them. So you should never underestimate Saudi Arabia and their ability to play the game.
Oh, but they haven't made a World Cup. They've missed out on the last 2 World Cups.
Yeah. This could be the year. What do you think?
Yeah. I think they're in the box seat. I think it just takes, especially for Australia or Japan, 1 slip up and they're gone to 3rd, and they'll probably play whoever finishes 3rd in the other group.
Yeah, but I would have to think that in the coming games that the Australians will be playing, they're playing Thailand, but they're not playing in Australia. They're playing Iraq, but they're not playing here. We won't see another game in Australia till 28th of March when they play the United Arab Emirates. It's really obvious that the Australians play better in Australia. They're not good away from home, are they?
No. But we're going to talk about another Australian team that's not good away from home as well later on.
Yeah.
In the cricket team. Do our cricket team have a nickname?
No, that I know of, no.
Yeah, so I was just thinking then, I was like, where the Socceroos, the females are...
Matildas.
The Matildas,
yeah.
Then we have the Kookaburras and all that. But I don't remember our Australian team having a...
No, we don't have anything for... I don't know... No national team actually has a nickname, do they?
Oh, we've got the Wallabies, the Kangaroos. In NRL, we have the...
No, I mean, as in cricket. So New Zealand doesn't have one. England...
Oh, no, well, the New Zealand knows the Black Caps, so...
Right, well, aren't we the Baggy Greens?
Oh, we'll look at... When we go to somewhere, I can look that up.
But yeah, overall, I think the game was a lucky escape for Australia, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The only issue is they played both Saudi Arabia and Japan, who are one above, one below, and they drew. They didn't get a win. If they got a win there in any of those two games, they would have been more or less, heading towards a good victory.
Yeah. I think more or less their issue was that they have some amazing shooters I love Aaron Moy and Mikhail Jedinak and Tommy Urich. I mean, those guys, not inside the box, but they're terrific shots from outside the box when it comes to a free in front of the wall. But, I mean, it's just their approach to the box and just their overall accuracy in shooting. Because they did miss some easy shots during that game. But it's just all about the counter-attack, I think, for the Aussies at the moment.
And it's always good to see an Australian-Japan game. Like, Australia's been playing soccer or football for, over 100 years now.
Yeah.
And it's good to see that they finally have a rivalry apart from New Zealand.
Yeah, and well, that is actually kind of that is actually a relief. But I mean, right here, I'm looking at this graph that I've got in front of me. Now you can actually just see that the Australians had lots of numbers and lots of possessions in the middle of the ground. When it came to the box, that's where they were lacking. So you know what? Just for the future, what I can see here is that the Australians often tried to go a long pass from the middle and try to get into the center of the square. That didn't seem to work last night because the Japanese wall was amazingly put up. Would you think it would be a better idea for the Australians to run it across the line, or maybe on the right or left side, and then through ball it into the middle? I know it's a little bit of an extreme type play, but do you think that could be an option for them?
Well, I think it's an option. Oh, one thing I noticed Australia does, and it's the same way I play FIFA.
Yeah.
They always try to do the cross.
Yeah.
That's the way I always play FIFA, because I remember playing FIFA, I always find it hard to
run it through. You can't
run
it through.
But then everyone who plays me can get through my defence it's as soft as butter. But I always have to cross it, and that's the way I've always known Australia. Australia and also Melbourne Victory used to play the exact same way as well.
Yeah, but it is tough for them to run it through the middle when you see stuff like the Japanese had 18 tackles to Australia's 11. I mean, it looks like that the Japanese were looking to be more defensive than the Australians. They were more defensive rather than attacking. So the next game coming up for the Australians would be in Thailand on the 16th of November. So stay tuned for that.
Well, I think that will be a win. It's a must-win. So it's a must-win. Because Japan, I doubt Japan will give up easily, and I doubt Japan wants to go to the qualifying game.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since 2006, which Australian football have got so much better.
Yeah, that's true. Ever since we won the Asian Cup.
Because now the A-League is being so popular, more players want to play soccer or football. Making the World Cup now is a must for Australians.
Well, yeah. Well, we didn't play that well in Brazil.
See, I thought we played better in Brazil than we did in South Africa.
Really?
Yeah, because we had Spain, Netherlands, and Chile, all very good teams, and we were leading Netherlands at one point.
Yeah.
We played really good against Chile for I think was it 2-1 loss. Apart from the first 15 minutes, I remember we got smashed, but apart from that, and then against Spain, we just didn't play at all.
I think the difference is that we stuck with that team that beat Uruguay for so long, but now we're finally starting to see some young players like Luongo, who's I think is amazing. Juric has really stood up. Truisi has really stood up. And we're not seeing as much of Archie Thompson. I mean, he was a great player of his time, but maybe not now. So now
Cahill, sorry to cut you off. Yeah. Cahill started off on the bench.
Exactly, he came in halfway through. Maybe that's an indication we won't see much of him anymore. Aaron Moy has really stood up. So, I mean, they have a good team. They just got to back themselves more.
Anyways, after this, we want to talk about another Australian team, the Australian cricket team here on the Sports Report on 3SSR. That was Elvis Presley with Jailhouse Rock here on the Sports Report here at 3SSR. And let's go to South Africa now, where Australia has lost their series 5-0 against South Africa in the one-dayers. South Africa won the toss, elected to bat first, scored 8 for 327 after the 50 overs. And Australia was never really in the hunt. At the 48th over, they were all out for 296. And you got Dave Warner, who scored 173 of 136 balls, pretty much making all their runs.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. Look at that. Oh God. Well, they're not doing too well, are they, the Aussies?
Not at the moment. No, just not in the one-dayers.
The cricket team's a funny one because they show a lot of inconsistencies, don't they? When they come to Australia to play here in the summer, they look amazing. They look unstoppable, don't they?
I still remember a few years ago when they did the 5-0 whitewash of England in the Ashes.
I remember that, yeah.
And then we went over to England, and I was so excited. I remember that. It was only a few years ago.
Yeah.
Because I remember me and my mates were watching the game, and we all got kebabs at one of those truck stop kebab places.
Yeah.
Best thing ever. And yeah, they got demolished over in England.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is, why they show a lot of inconsistencies over there. But, I mean, do you think they're going to show a massive improvement when they come back home?
I think they will. I honestly think they'll win the first test and maybe even the second, because it's the best of 3. And then we got 3 1-days against New Zealand, then we play Pakistan in test.
Yes, that's right. So we're going to play them on the 3rd of November at the Wacker in Perth. Is it unusual for them to play the first test at the Wacker?
Yeah, them used to being at the Gabba. It's always at the Gabba.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because you might know a little bit more about cricket because you've been watching it for longer, but can you remember the last time the first test was played at the Wacker?
No, I can't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, no, it's been a while.
It usually goes from the Gabba to the Adelaide Oval to the Wacker to the MCG to Sydney.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if not, they go to Tasmania, which the second test would be held in Tasmania.
Yeah. No, well, maybe they're just trying to get more viewers in Perth, I guess, which is really not needed because Perth loves their cricket. But I mean,
oh yeah, Perth. I think Perth, New South Wales, and Victoria, and South Australia loves their cricket.
yeah, exactly.
Cricket's one of those sports that, as much as people are like it's boring, it's unpopular, it's a sport that will never die in Australia.
Yeah, true. It's an Australian classic.
Oh, we love our cricket.
But we have seen a slight drop in attendance last series, didn't we?
Oh, you always see a slight drop. I remember a few years ago, 1 day they got very small crowds, but you know, with the success of 2020 cricket, that'll be the most popular now. I remember I went to my one and only Boxing Day test in 2013.
Yeah.
And it was 91,000 there.
Yeah, I remember that. That was England versus Australia. Or was it India?
England, yeah,
It was
it was the Ashes.
Australia. Yeah, I remember that. But I mean, it's really good. But do you think it's time to see more night matches? Because we did see a night match last year.
The day night one.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good actually. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think everyone enjoyed it. I think the game was a draw. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was. Yeah, it was
Or
at
was it-
Adelaide Oval. I remember that.
Well, no, I think Australia won that, sorry, and it just took forever to get that last wicket.
Yeah, I
It
remember
was
that.
like
Yeah.
we got them. It was like 9 for something, and they still had like 200 to win, and it just took them forever to get it. I think they should. I don't know if they're implementing one in this series or the next one when we play Pakistan, but yeah.
So Dave Warner scoring 173 runs off of 136 balls in a one-day international, that is a terrific effort in my opinion.
Oh, it is. It's a phenomenal effort.
So what's wrong with the entire team then? If David Warner is scoring that,
I think it's because I looked at the playing list before, and I had no idea who was there. Apart from Smith, Warner, I think Marsh,
right? Yeah,
like Stark didn't play.
Stark didn't play.
Nah.
How about Maxwell? Was Maxwell playing?
Can't remember, but I don't think Maxwell was playing either.
Well, so would the problem with the Australians be that they can't really form a good partnership?
I don't think they were trying something out in South Africa because, like I said, I didn't know any of the players, and not most of them aren't that old.
Right.
Like I
yeah.
know once the test starts, Stark will be back. Marsh will be back. Marsh, Lyon.
Yeah.
All those players will come back. But I think David Warner and Steve Smith are the two that stay, and the captain and vice captain.
Of course, yeah.
Speaking of Steve Smith, what do you think of him?
Pardon me?
What do you think of Steve Smith?
I think he got a hard run early on in his career because I think he was compared to Shane Warne a bit too much. They really wanted him to be the next Shane Warne for Australia, just because he actually resembled him a lot. So they tried to, make him out of the spin ball. So I think he had a hard time early on, but I think he really settled in the last couple of years and really showed us why he is a terrific player. And I mean, when he captained the Australians while Clark was out, was that the
5-0 one, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he did a terrific job at that, and he really stood up for the Aussies. So I do think he's a terrific player. Just needed some time to really warm up into his position.
See, I think it was pretty much that I think it was what was it? It was before. I think it was the test before that when he scored the double century.
Yeah.
That's where everyone started comparing him to Michael Clark and he'll be the next captain. And that was the time where Brad Hannon was our vice captain, and we had no idea who would be the captain of Australia. And then he stood out, and he's been captain now for 2-3 years now.
Yeah, but I mean, that's it. You can't really. I don't like when they compare players to old players. I don't like that. 'Cause
You talk
Shane
about
Warne is
sport.
the greatest spin bowler of all time, and you can't compare anyone to Shane Warne. But as soon as you put a young kid against Shane Warne, he's gonna look intimidated.
Oh yeah, and I think that's let's change sports for a sec. Dermot Burnham does it a lot in the AFL commentary. You know, someone takes like, oh, there's a bit of blah 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 about him.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
he does it a lot, and I'm like,
yeah.
you
Joe
don't want
Danaher reminds me of Paul Salmon and Solomon. Sorry.
yeah, you don't want to be compared to anyone. Like I
Yeah.
know for the start of his career, Fife got compared to James Hird all the time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know why Fife doesn't break all the time like Hird's body did.
Yeah. But I mean, so it's just you can't always compare players to past generations. But I mean, he's played terrifically well in the last couple of series. So I'm very excited to see him come back to Australia.
And what about Davey Warner? Like, remember when he started? I don't know if you do remember, but he made his name in the 2020,
Yeah.
and then he was like, oh, he can't play Test, and he's one of our best Test batsmen. He's an opening Test batsman, so
Yeah. Real
know,
old school with his heart on his sleeve type guy.
yeah.
I mean, he's another one that you think we didn't really see him become outstanding till personally, I didn't really take much note of Dave Warner until I started watching the BBL, and he was just amazing for the Renegades, for the Melbourne Renegades.
And you honestly look at him, especially when he started, you thought he couldn't play Test because Test is a much more. It's like playing a different sport from playing Test at one day to 2020. It's like it's a completely different sport.
2020 is just get those runs, while Test is all about patience, really trying to form a good relationship, and just stay in there as long as you can, and just really get those runs. Kind of like one at a time in a way. Don't overdo it. Stay into the game. Because it's a long time. But I mean, 2020 is more about you have to get the runs, and you've only got 20 overs to do them.
Yeah.
So there is a difference in play. But I mean, he settled in well, I think.
But what do you take out of this Test? So this one day with South Africa, they lost 0-5. They have become world champions. They won 4 out of their last 5 World Cup tournaments. So Australia's got some credibility when it comes to the one dayers.
I mean, we do have good history, but I mean, like you said, you didn't really know much of the players that were playing against South Africa. So it just shows that they weren't really taking in a side that really knows who each other are, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean by that?
But see, so you're talking about comparison. Every time Australia does well, they'll be compared to the 04, 05, 06 team.
But those teams were different. That team had like Ricky Ponting. Even before that, those teams had like Ricky Ponting and the War Brothers and all those guys. But I mean, you kind of keep comparing them to Brett Lee.
2005 was when I got into cricket,
Yeah.
watching Langer, Hayden, Ponting, Clark, Hussey,
Yeah, I remember.
McGrath, Warne, another Clark,
Yeah.
Lee. They were a phenomenal team. This Australian team will probably don't know where we are in the world. If you give me 2 seconds, I can tell you where we are in the world.
Yeah, but I mean, they are a terrific side that just needs someone really to back them. But I think they got some great talent in that team. So, pardon me. So
There you go. So we are in Test ranking. We are 3rd. In one day ranking, we are 1st.
yeah, well, we just had a bad. I reckon we just had a bad series. You would have to.
We
think.
did, and we were playing against South Africa, who are 2nd. And South Africa is a very, very underrated cricket country.
Yeah, because we don't really. Because I mean, the thing is with like, the thing is with like India cricket's like their sport. Like cricket is to India what rugby is to New Zealand, if that makes sense.
What AFL is to us.
Yeah, and or like exactly, and what soccer is to to the Brazilians. It's one of those sports that when you're born, you begin playing it. And I think the reason why South Africa isn't seen as a sport-dominant nation, we don't really take note of them because they like their soccer.
And they like their rugby, and everyone probably looks at them as a rugby country. But yeah, they love their cricket. Actually, I do agree with India. Don't take any of this what I say, but I was in a taxi, and the guy, talking to the taxi driver because you don't want an awkward taxi ride.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, in India, you either play cricket to be professional or you don't play cricket.
Yes, I heard that one as well.
Yeah, you don't play cricket to have fun. You play because you want to play for India."
And I mean, for so long since the BBL started, we've been trying to. They have a 2020 league. What's that one called?
ICC, not ICC. But yeah, they're big bash in India.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and I mean, my brother was telling me that people make a killing over there, playing the game over there, and I watched it on Foxtel, and I mean, the stadium was packed out and the atmosphere was nothing like I've heard before. Like, it's really tough to go up against nations like those when their atmosphere is amazing because it can be intimidating.
I
at
would hate to
times.
play, especially a test match against India.
Yeah, I mean, have you
Because of
seen-
the crowd, and
Yeah.
you're there for 5 days, and the crowd will just give you it all for the entire 5 days.
yeah,
Anyways, that's yeah. So like we were saying, the first test is against South Africa on the 3rd of November at the Wacker. After this, we're going to talk about the Western Sydney Wanderers captain leaving the club. And do you think it's right that captains can leave mid-season? Here on the Sports Report. That was Queen here on the Sports Report for 3SSR. It's such a good song. It's a good way to spend your Friday listening to a song like that.
I mean, it's the greatest song to sing. I've never met anyone who doesn't know the words to that song.
Well, most of them aren't even words.
Yeah, Galileo. Yep. So the Western Sydney Wanderers, right?
I was actually going to get to the weather.
Okay. That's more important than the Wanderers.
Yeah, anything's more important than the Wanderers.
Oh, yeah.
It is currently 12 degrees here, and again, top at 21, and it's currently 42 minutes past 10. So let's get to your team, the Western Sydney Wanderers.
Western Sydney Wanderers didn't play that well against the FC last week in the first game.
Yes. Losing 4-0 to the runners-up from last year. But your captain has leaving the club.
Well, he's being given permission for temporary leave. That's the official kind of thing about it. So so what has happened was the Western Sydney Wanderers have given Topple Stanley, as reported on their website, temporary leave to pursue opportunities elsewhere
Yes,
overseas.
at the Hatta Club at the United Arab Emirates.
United Arab Emirates.
Words. He's played, sorry to cut you off, he's played 104 games for the Wanderers and he's kicked 3 goals for the captain.
Yeah, so he's done well. So this doesn't actually mean he's leaving. It just means he doesn't mean he's leaving for good. It just means he's leaving for a little while. He's coming back.
Like I've done some research on him, and he's been at the club since 2012.
Since the
So
very
he's one of the foundation members of the club. He's played in all 3 of your losing grand finals and was captain in 2014 and 2016.
Yeah, and he was the captain of the Asian Champions Leagues when they won the first
Yes. That was last year or the year before?
year before.
Year before, yeah.
Year before. But I mean, let's move ahead to this game coming up for the Wanderers. So the outs Borders out for 1 week for a suspension, but in comes Shannon Cole, Clisby, and Milling are all coming in. I like Shannon Cole coming in. I think he's an excellent left back for the Wanderers. He's really good at running the ball. He's really good at running from box to box. He's a terrific player. But I want to focus more on the goalkeeping for the Wanderers. And I'm just very critical. I'm very critical of Andrew Redmayne.
Yes, if anyone's caught it on Sin on Monday, he's not a big fan of the Wanderers goalkeeper.
Well, I don't think he's very clear-headed to play in that position. He's constantly off his line. He doesn't really look like he knows where to dive for the ball. He doesn't have good timing. But in the Wanderers team is Jared Tyson, and the last time I saw Jared Tyson play was in an Asian Champions League match in I believe it was South Korea around 3 years ago before he ended up leaving to pursue other opportunities. But I mean, he was a terrific goalkeeper. So do you agree with me when I say that I would rather see Jared Tyson be the goalkeeper for this match than Andrew Redmayne? Or would you back Andrew Redmayne if you were the coach?
I wouldn't back a goalkeeper to let 4 goals past him on the weekend.
Under any circumstances?
Nah, especially in an important game. It's the first game of the season. Especially, the game that... The first game is probably the most important game of any club season. It's one that gets you off on a good foot. We'll just look at Fremantle in the AFL, for example, of a team who got smashed in round 1 and derailed their entire season.
Exactly. But I mean, I would like Jared Tyson. I would like to see him because the thing about the A-League is you got to really deserve your spot. You're not going to get given your spot.
And, you got the best opportunities when some players... I don't think the players who play for Australia are coming back, if any are from the Wanderers.
I don't think so.
When players go away for international duty, no matter where they play,
yeah,
you have the chance to get that spot and kick someone else out your team. So
Yeah.
it's very, very risky. But this makes me bring another question. Should captains of any sport, AFL, NRL, A-League, cricket, basketball, netball, should captains leave mid-season?
Well, soccer is a very different game to any other game because they have transfers mid-season.
I understand the transfer mid-season, but the captains should have not the different rules, but if someone puts you as captain of a club, you have a responsibility to at least the end of that season.
Well, I think that they should be allowed to have the option because, after all, it is their career. But I mean, it isn't necessarily a good look for the club if your captain's walking out. But it has happened in the past many times in the A League. But I mean, there's not much you can do about it.
No. Who's going to captain the Wanderers? That's the big question now.
Well, to the extent of my knowledge, it's going to be Dimas, who is, I think, a Spanish player. If my memory serves me correctly, it is going to be Dimas. He's a terrific player. He's a terrific midfielder for the Wanderers. I saw him play a lot last year. He was amazing. So it's good to see him back in the team. I, for one, would have liked Brendan Santalab, just because he's been at the club longer and he really knows the players and he's a terrific striker. But then again, Santalab has never really been a sure striker. He's played better off the bench. So you would want your player to be on the field more, which is now I understand why they went with Dimas, because he's going to be on the field more than Santalab.
Yeah. As a supporter going against United, any heartbreak from the grand final coming to the game?
A little bit. Well, there are taking in a lot of amazing players. Check this. So they got Galekovic, who's an Adelaide United legend. He's been there for a while. They got La Rocca, former he's an Italian player, former Western Sydney player. He's also terrific in the terrific in the back line. McGowan, who's also a terrific Australian player. So they've got a good list there. So I'm going to say that it's going to be a really difficult game for the Wanderers to get through.
Especially going up to Adelaide.
Yeah, that's one of the other things. Adelaide has a terrific ground that they know very well. They are the reigning premiers. They didn't lose a whole lot of players. If anything, they got amazing players. They got international Socceroo player James Holland. He's played well for the Socceroos in the past. So it is going to be a climb up for the Wanderers. But, I mean, it's not an impossible game to play.
No, it's not. I've been singing the praises of the A-League for years now. I love how the structure where, like the EPL, where you know it's going to be Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea. We'll say Arsenal, but they don't win.
Yeah.
But Arsenal's there. At least with the A-League, you don't know. Like Western Sydney Wanderers went from grand final to wooden spooners to grand final.
Yeah, exactly. But it is tough. I mean, a lot of people tend to object with the A-League, saying that it should just be if you're on top of the ladder, then you should be the premier.
Nah, so that goes against Australian tradition. We love our grand finals.
But a lot of people because a lot of people who like to watch the A-League love to watch European football.
Yeah.
And in European football, the rule is if whoever finishes on the top of the ladder are the premiers. Now, although we do have that with the minor premiers, they think that should be it. Because I was talking with a strong Western Sydney supporter a while ago, and then they said to me, "Well, if you're the best team all season, it's a little bit unlucky for you not to be the best team in the grand final."
Yeah, that's probably been the argument for years, but all sports. But like I said, it's Australian tradition, the grand final.
Yeah.
Nothing's better for Australians than sitting back watching the AFL grand final.
I like the grand final. I like how it's amped up.
I think the NRL, especially not NRL, A-League, they're not big enough yet to have a set stadium. Like the AFL has the MCG, the NRL has ANZ Stadium, but the A-League doesn't have a set stadium yet, which is good. I like how they can move the grand final to state.
I like that too, and I think that Etihad Stadium. I mean, there's been some stuff saying that Etihad Stadium should be the grand final stadium, but I mean, they haven't proved to be reliable in the past. With the last Melbourne Victory grand final being playing at Amy Park.
Oh yeah, because the AFL is scheduled, which I think that's more AFL's fault for not budging at all or not moving grounds.
Yeah, I understand that, but you gotta admit it's not a reliable stadium at all.
See, I actually like Suncorp. I always thought when the Brisbane Roar played their 3 grand finals there, it was really good. The atmosphere was amazing.
I mean, it is amazing, but I don't think we're at that stage yet where we're gonna get people leaving their homes to go watch the game.
And we're not at that stage yet where like AFL grand finals and NRL grand finals, a lot of corporate members.
Exactly, yeah.
Like MCC or ANZ Stadium members.
They've only been around for 12 years now?
Yeah.
12 years, 13 years.
And less off-field drama than the old Australian League, which was...
NSL.
Yeah, NSL, which was full of drama and off-field incidents.
I mean, the NSL was just terrible. I remember my brother saying to me that he went to watch a game in Sydney, which was I think the team was called the Parramatta Power. He goes to me, "Jeff, there was 300 people in that stadium. Literally 300 people. Because that's why the league died. No one really cared about it anymore."
And then they rebooted with the A-League, and I just think there's more marketing with the A-League than there has been any other league, and the success of Australia, if Australia didn't make the 06 World Cup, the A-League wouldn't be as big as it is now.
I think also because we have more players playing in the A League who play with the Socceroos, so I think that's just more notoriety with us.
Yeah. We'll go back to the A-League very shortly, towards the end of the show. But first, we have Vance Joy with Riptide here on the Sports Report. That was Vance Joy with Riptide, which is one of my favourite songs at the moment, and it was played at 2016 AFL Grand Final. We are here on the Sports Report with myself and Jeff. So, trade fortnight, it is, not trade week, it's like trade fortnight,
Yeah.
is upon us, and it's been it was a slow first few days. It's picked up. Like, there have been 2 trades today, and we'll get to the big one soon.
Yeah.
But start off with the first trade, which was Tyrone Vickery from Richmond to Hawthorn.
Yep.
Nothing big there, but Daniel Wells was probably the big one.
That was, and I think the reason why he was a big one was because just of the environment North Melbourne is at the moment.
Yeah, they're not in the best place, aren't they, at the moment?
Is it because do you think it's because they brought it on themselves by delisting 4? Do you think that the delisting of those 4 the 4 players, Nick Dalsano, Andrew Ferrito, Brent Harvey, and
Drew Petrie,
and Drew Petrie, do you think that the delisting of those 4 guys was a good idea now? Because it was.
I just think in the manner it was, which was just during the week, you wake up one day, the AFL game record holders got delisted.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, it doesn't stop there, because now in a way they've lost 5 veterans with Daniel Wells leaving to go to the Collingwood Magpies.
Yeah, and that's not a good look for them as well. And they weren't happy, but I think half the reason why he left is because of Harvey and that leaving.
Do you think so?
I'm feeling it had something to do with it. Just the manner it was handled.
Well, I think that the Andrew Wells and Tyrone Vickery going on the basis of free agency, that was, especially for the Hawks, I think that was a good pickup for them, for a free agent, because you wouldn't want to, because I don't think Tyrone Vickery isn't the greatest player in the world.
No,
He's
but
very inconsistent.
I think he can fill the role that Hawthorn might need him to. We'll go down to the next day, and Freo finally got a draft that was a year in the making. It was, it's the start of last year's draft period. Freo was trying to get Cam McCarthy from GWS, but the Giants, to their credit, stuck by their word, saying he was a contracted player and didn't budge.
Right.
But the Freo gave up pick 3, and they got Cam McCarthy, pick 7, 34, and 72 in return.
Oh, okay. So he's worth 3 players. Cam McCarthy, has he played much this year?
I didn't play at all. He spent the entire year in Perth for homesickness.
Right, okay, yeah. So it was actually a positive. So I would back that trade.
I think Chris Mann used his free agency and went to Collingwood. Freo got pick 23, which they used later on to get Bradley Hill from Hawthorn. So Freo at the moment doing really well in the draft trade period. But I think the Giants, who later on swapped their pick 3 for Brisbane's pick 2, I think the Giants are absolutely killing it this trade period.
They're very good. I mean, just look at their team right now and you'll know why they're so good at scouting.
And that's the thing. They can get rid of players like just recently today, Jack Steele, who was a good midfielder / defender for him. He's off to St Kilda. By the way, St Kilda's 7th Jack.
Oh, okay.
7 Jacks they have on their list now.
That's weird.
That's a lot of Jacks.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine being on the field. Jack.
Yeah, Jack. The trade that caught me off guard a little bit was Chris Mann going to Collingwood.
That didn't catch me off, maybe because I'm a Freo supporter and I knew he was gone.
Yeah.
And it's so bad when you see players that are gone.
Yeah.
And they go, do you think you're going to stay? And then they do the whole, it's not up to me, it's up to my management, and I hope everything works out.
Etc. etc. I mean, Bradley Hill going to free was seen from a long shot.
Yeah.
We all saw that coming. But I mean, Chris Mann going to the Magpies was a bit of a shock to me, because I always thought he was just going to stay around for another year, in my opinion.
Well, he's 27, and I think for most of the season it was North Melbourne. It was pretty much a done deal for him going to North Melbourne, and then now no Collingwood. Another trade that was in the making. It's official, but not official. Tom Mitchell from Sydney's gone to Hawthorn for pick 14. They haven't signed the paperwork yet because they're going to do more picks towards the end of the trade period, but that's a done deal.
Okay.
And that's something you've known pretty much as well all season.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and so it just came up now. Matthew Boyd, now Premiership player. Matthew Boyd has signed a 1-year contract extension.
Well, that's a big positive. For,
all Australian this year as well. So.
Yeah, big positive for the Bulldogs.
Isn't it weird to say Bulldogs play a Premiership player?
It still hasn't hit home for me that they won the grand final.
And I've watched that grand final like 3, 4, 5 times now.
Yeah.
And it's just seeing the Premiership logo on the Bulldogs, or the grand final logo on the Bulldogs jumper, just doesn't feel right. I
mean, that alone is a shocker, isn't it?
I know, and hopefully it's something for me. Hopefully, it's something that we can get used to seeing.
Yeah,
Like I don't want the Bulldogs to be in the grand final every year because
it gets boring after a while.
I remember being so excited when Hawthorn played in 08 because I haven't seen Hawthorn in the grand final. Now it's like if the Hawthorns never play in the grand final again, I'll be a happy man.
Yeah,
But yeah, so so it's good for Matthew Boyd, good for the Bulldogs,
yeah, exactly.
and I think with Robert Murphy coming back, I think they can have a crack at next year's grand final. I don't think they'll win. I think they can have a crack.
Why not? They won from 7th position. Why can't they do it again?
Yeah, maybe they should finish 8th and try to
Yeah.
give it a shot.
Give it a shot from 8th. And also one that's come up pretty quickly was Sam Mitchell.
Yes, the big one, the big shock.
Yeah, I thought he was a Hawthorn. I think he was going to be with Hawthorn in and out. Like, that's it from till death to us part. He's going to be at Hawthorn.
Yeah, but him and Clarkson had a meeting about coaching and that, and because I know Clarkson's friends with Simpson, and pretty much a done deal to have a year at West Coast and get into a coaching role,
Yeah.
which possibly will lead to 2 years. Depends how West Coast he goes. But he was a premiership captain. Like, let's remember that Sam Mitchell.
Yeah, right, in 08, yeah.
Just won his 5th best and fairest.
And he's won 4 premierships, so he doesn't really need another one.
Yeah, he might want one.
Might want 1, might want 5.
He's won, yeah. So he's, and he could also be a Brownlow medalist by the end of November.
Well, yeah, with the whole Joe Watson trials still going ahead.
So how would that look for Hawthorn, seeing a Brownlow medalist, a best and fairest winner in the 1 year, heading to West Coast, and they got pick 52, 70, and 88 in return.
Well, doesn't it look like that Hawthorn's really rebuilding at the moment, getting rid of these old players, trying to get as much picks as they can in the draft?
I think they're trying to get money so they can get O'Meara, Mitchell, and Vickery.
But I mean, look, how old's Tom Mitchell? You know what I mean? Like, they're getting young, they're going with young players.
Yeah, and we heard also that Jordan Lewis. So you asked me before you came on, what's the Jordan Lewis situation? So him and Clarkson had a meeting, and what I heard was that he thought he was becoming captain.
Right.
More it was do you want to look elsewhere? And they suggested Melbourne. Had a meeting with Melbourne. A contract was there. Contract was about to be signed. Hawthorn backflipped. And I'm like, oh no, we want him. So there's still a possibility you could head to Melbourne, but apart from that, it's kind of not likely at the moment.
Well, I told you, I thought those Hawks looked tired in the final series.
Yeah.
So I think it was time that they need to get some fresh players into that team and a fresh game plan to go along with that.
I know Clarkson said during the Hawthorn's best and fairest that people were like, thank God they're not in the grand final, but they should be worried that we're coming. I can't see where they're coming from. I know it sucks to see a team who's just won 3 in a row. They're not Brisbane. They're not going to go where Brisbane is, which is they're in a dark place. Brisbane.
Well, they didn't take enough care of their coaching staff for them to be in that position.
They didn't take enough care of their rebuild as well. They just,
Exactly.
Yeah. And the only coach who got them to the finals was Voss.
Yes.
So Hawthorn, because even though they will get O'Meara and Mitchell, O'Meara hasn't played in 2 years. And I don't think he'll be a certain starter for round 1.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he's going to go. Tom Mitchell should be. I think Tom Mitchell will be good. Vickery, that's also a tough one.
Vickery's a real flip of the coin. I mean, we all said that Clarkson was safe for getting Brian Lake, and all of a sudden he's a Norm Smith medalist. Do you think he's a little bit insane for going for Tyrone Vickery? Just because I can see Tyrone Vickery's talent, but I can't see his consistency.
Yeah,
That's where I am with Tyrone Vickery. That's my thought with him.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think more with Hawthorn. I think Clarkson's a genius. He makes players better, and that's why players want to go to Hawthorn because of the culture. Maybe the fact that they're getting rid of veterans now might not want people to go there, but I think I said to you a few weeks ago that if they knew what they knew about where they finished at the end of 2016, because remember they were 2 games clear in the last 3 rounds of the year.
Yeah.
And then they lost all but 1, and they won a game by a point.
Yeah.
Heading towards the end. So Hawthorn, yeah, they're in a tough place.
They're in a tough place.
Because I don't think they would have signed Burgoyne, Gibson, and Hodge and all that for another year in the next few years.
They're trying to wait it out. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to not get rid of all their players all at once. They're trying to say, okay, who do we need? What position are we set in? What position do we need work in? So the position that they need work in is their back line because they just started Gibson and Burgoyne.
Yeah. And I just think,
But then again, we don't know what's going on in the Hawthorn Footy Club. For all we know, they've got 3 or 4 players lined up in the VFL to head into the AFL.
Well, I spoke to my friend, and my friend's a Geelong supporter, and he doesn't like the fact that they're getting Deledio and Tui. Well, they want to get Deledio and Zach Tui. Because if you look at Geelong's list, same with Hawthorn's list, you don't see enough youngsters coming through. I know you just said that, like, who's Hawthorn's next forward? Then that's one thing they struggled with, a tall forward when Raphael didn't play this year.
Yeah.
Same with Geelong. Lonergan's 32, Harry Taylor's 31. I know Henderson's in his 20s, but Geelong's also they're trading for the next 1-2 grand finals. But once those grand finals wear off, where are the clubs going to be?
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. They're a very mysterious club to look at. They're a very mysterious club to talk about because they can surprise you at every corner because you can't really anticipate what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because we always like, okay, who's gonna be next defender? Okay, here comes Brian Lake. Why bring Brian Lake into the team? All right, we need another defender. Who they're gonna bring? We'll just bring in Frawley. Frawley hasn't played well for the Melbourne Demons in a while, or he brought him in and then Frawley was amazing. So I didn't really get how they operate over there, but whatever they're doing, it's working. So I'm going to anticipate what to see from Tyrone Vickery.
Yeah.
For all I know, he can be the common medalist next year.
Yeah, pretty much. Another thing that people got to realise, I know this is going to be a big thing now, like Brisbane at the moment, who got to lose Rockcliffe and Pierce Hamley, and because they got a new coach, there'll be a lot of comparisons to the Bulldogs.
Right. Yeah.
And actually, talking about the Bulldogs, I have to apologise to someone. I'm a Miss Carol Berryman, because she has quoted that I had said during the 2013 grand final when she goes, "Oh, you should be happy that Freo made it," and I was like, "No, we didn't. We shouldn't be happy because we lost." And then a few weeks ago, I said on radio that the Bulldogs don't need a win to be happy.
Right.
So my mother said I contradicted myself, so I have to apologise to my mother.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, she said if I didn't apologise, I won't be going to Ireland, and
okay.
we're going out for lunch, so I have to.
Okay.
I want food, so
Okay.
make that apology. But yeah, back to the footy. So what team? Looking at this now, most of the trades are Hawthorn, Freo, GWS, Collingwood. Who's winning the trade period?
GWS is an interesting one because they have a lot of young players in that team, and they've got an amazing amount of picks on their side. But I mean, the Hawks are a funny one, but I think that Magpies may have just stolen it because with Daniel Wells, who I think is a little bit underrated, I think at times. I don't think we don't give him enough credit for how well he plays for a team. He has some injuries in the past, but I think Chris Mayne is a really good pickup for the Magpies, and I think Nathan Buckley is really going to hit home this season.
Anyways, we'll go to a song and we'll go back with more trade. This one's the trades that to come in the next few days here on the Sports Report. There's some Justin Bieber to line up your Friday here on the Sports Report on 3SSR. It is currently 14 degrees now, again, top of 21. It's starting to heat up, unfortunately. I do like the cold. The cold morning was a good change from the usual hotness, and I'm not a big fan of the heat.
Yeah, I'm same.
Talking about heat, the trade period again, like we said, starting to heat up here. The biggest move, or non-move this trade period, is Bryce Gibbs.
Yeah.
It was reported yesterday that Carlton's not talking to Adelaide because Adelaide were only offering pick 13.
What shocks me about this is that Bryce Gibbs isn't being seen as a free agent.
Well, he's got 3 years left on his contract.
So, right, so he can't...
He's a big contracted player.
Yeah.
And that's why Carlton has all right. Carlton can just knock it off. It's like, a kid saying, I got a bubble gum. You're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You're a kid. No one cares about you. So, and Bryce Gibbs can do what Cam McCarthy didn't go home for homesickness, but he's 27. Like, he's played at Carlton ever since he was a teenager. He's, almost spent more time in Victoria as he's done in South Australia.
And he was a big pick, I remember.
Yeah, number 1, yeah.
Number 1, yeah.
So it was a very, very weird move that he wants to head back. It could be for a premiership, but...
Or it could be because of Eddie Betts.
Eddie Betts.
Because Eddie Betts is a former teammate of Bryce Gibbs.
I don't think he's going to go, and that's why just Kane Corns, or the Chad Corns, one of the Corns, said that they're now targeting Brett Deledio, and then offering Richmond the pick 13, which Richmond can offer the Gold Coast to get Dion Prestia.
I would go for Dion Prestia. Because I think Dion Prestia is a better deal than Brett Deledio. But I think if...
Oh, no, Richmond's getting Dion Prestia, and Deledio's gone to Adelaide.
I think that they just targeting to start getting more picks and start getting rid of these older players because they don't have a good team with them. It's very obvious that they don't.
They were never that, especially when like 13, 14, 15, they were never that good of a team. They were every time they finished outside the top 4, that's where they deserved to finish. They're very much an outside the top 4 team. Yeah,
because they would win a set amount of games and then all of a sudden they would get a little bit too ahead of themselves and then they would just drop off and they'll start losing again. They'll start losing games that they should have won. I mean, do you remember when they beat think it was the Hawks. And 1 week later, in front of 40,000 people, they lost against North Melbourne.
Yeah, it's just Richmond's very.
This was last season,
Yeah.
not the 2016 season. But I mean,
No, Richmond didn't beat anyone in
No, no.
2016.
but I mean, they have consistency issues, and I guess it has to be on the players. So I think you need to get more younger players, and they need to scout more. They need to have better scouters.
They do. Richmond, looking at the list of players who can be traded, and there's only one going to Richmond, which is pretty much a certainty. Yeah.
Mm.
A big trade here. Not a big trade. Well, according to my friend, who's a Geelong supporter, Shane Kirsten, who's a tall forward, heading to Fremantle, which should have been done yesterday. Could be done today. Could be done next week.
Yeah.
Which could be followed by Premiership player Joel Hamling, who played great on Buddy Franklin in the grand final.
Yeah.
He's torn between going back to WA or staying with the Bulldogs. More about opportunity wise, and him and Shane Kirsten are really good friends. So, anything could happen there.
I mean, Shane Kirsten is a terrific player, and I think he will be well suited at the Dockers just because of his size and his run. The Domain Stain will suit a player like him.
He's very, very fit for 191. So it's kind of like 10 years ago he would have been classed as a tall forward. Now he's small for midfield standards.
Yeah.
191. So he's more of a medium-sized forward. You have the Joe Danahers who are 200 centimeters.
And they
Which
can
usually
run.
be a ruckman back in the day.
So I think he will be well suited at Domain. So I can see him going to the Dockers, but I mean, it's all depending if Geelong would like to keep him there.
Well, he's out of contract and he requested a trade, so it's unlike he's a contracted player, so he's pretty much gone. One thing I said to you as well before, I don't understand how Bryce Gibbs and Delidio, they're both contracted players. Geelong and Adelaide, but are playing hardball. So Carlton's like, oh, how about we get blah blah and blah blah, and they're like, no. If you're trying to get a contracted player, you've got to be less stubborn. And the only stubborn team that's allowed to be stubborn is Hawthorn.
Exactly. You're exactly right with that, because you just got to have good communication with the side you're trying to get the player from if they are contracted. But I want to talk a little bit more about the big talking point all year, which was Travis Cloak and he's dealing with the Magpies, because he hasn't been suited at the Magpies this season, has he?
No, and
Hasn't really been comfortable there.
No, and he's been reported to go to the Bulldogs, and it's meant to be like the first deal to be done, and
Yeah.
week one's over, and he's not the Doggies yet.
And it makes you think if the Doggers are really actually pursuing him now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think maybe they're just backing off their offer, or that's a weird one.
Well, if he doesn't go to the Bulldogs, where else can he go?
I don't think anyone wants him. That's the issue.
Because Tom Lynch has been playing terrifically for the Gold Coast Suns, so they're not really in need of a forward.
And they've got Sam May and Peter Wright. They've got the big three, tall forwards, so they're good where they are.
I mean, Charlie Dixon, I think, has played well for the Power, and also Justin Westhoff has also been playing well as a forward and / ruckman. So they don't need him. I mean, and the Crows don't need him. So who really needs him in that team?
Yeah, see, that's the big thing. No one really needs a forward.
No one
apart
really
from
needs-
Collingwood.
Exactly. Well, they've got
Darcy Moore.
No, from America. Was it
Mason Cox.
Mason Cox. They got him, so he's a terrific player for him, and he's really upstaged the Premiership play in Travis Cloak. It's very difficult to see who needs a new forward, because it's all of a sudden all these teams have strong young forwards in their forward line.
And Hawthorn got Vickery, whereas they could have got Cloak. We don't know if Ruffhead's coming back next year or what's happening with Ruffhead. And if Hawthorn thinks they can have a crack in next year's premiership, maybe Hawthorn might be a good fit.
But then again, Jack Gunston is still in that team.
But Jack Gunston wouldn't be the dominant tall. He's a very skinny 191.
I don't know. He can take a good mark.
Oh,
he can take a good goal.
He's
What
a
is needed
dominant
by
player,
Ruckman?
yeah. He's a dominant. I think Jack Gunston's great. Which is why Gold Coast, with the O'Meara trade, and we were talking before about clubs being stubborn, so O'Meara's not contracted. So if he doesn't go to Hawthorn in the year, he'll go to the draft, which will be picked up by Hawthorn, and Gold Coast will get nothing.
Right.
So Hawthorn can't start being stubborn with, because Gold Coast wants a player.
Well, I think they've got a quality side, the Hawks, at the moment.
They do. Another big trade from the Hawks, Billy Hartung, who missed out on last year's grand final, was an emergency. I think 21-year-old midfielder could be off to the Lions,
Oh, is that so?
which I think would be a massive pickup for the Lions. I think he's a fantastic young midfielder. He has a really good relationship with their coach,
Yes.
so that could be a big turning point there. Another player going to the Lions is Collingwood's Jack Frost.
Yes, I mean, Jack Frost has had a good 2 years with the Magpies, hasn't he?
Towards the end of this year, though, he did get dropped and didn't find his way back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think That's a good thing. And I think the person who took his spot, Jonathan Marsh, who did last night requested a trade back to WA.
Right.
And I said to you before, this is probably the most perfect quick swap trade that won't happen with Mitch Brown from West Coast wanting a trade to Victoria,
Yeah.
which can easily swap there, but I doubt that would happen.
No, well, that and also, it's been a really weird trade. I've never seen a trade season like this, where it's just the amount of players who are just trying to leave their club and go home.
Oh, so many contracted players, and I do agree that the players now have too much say. Like, what's his name? I've got him here. Where's Piggott? Jared Piggott from GWS. Never heard of the guy.
Me neither.
And he wants to trade to Carlton.
It's a little bit odd that we're seeing these much players, but also Tom Rockcliffe
Yeah, the captain of the Brisbane Lions.
would like to go to the Adelaide Crows or the St Kilda.
Well, it's not that he wants to go. It's that Brisbane don't really need him. They don't want him. So I don't know. And like Pierce Hanley's off to the Gold Coast, which is pretty much, I won't say set in stone, but it's almost there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tom Rockcliffe to, especially after his tweets the other day, which got him into trouble. Apparently he's not needed at the Lions. Rumours that he'll stay because for captain, you'll think there'd be clubs on the heels to get him, but
Yeah.
there's been very little interest from Collingwood. Had interest and backed off, but apart from that, they had very, very small interest in him.
Well, this is just gonna pan out to be an interesting season for 2017. Very
Yeah.
odd one now.
Oh, it is, and I think people say that Rockcliffe is likely to actually stay at the Lions. He probably won't be captain next year. You can't really trade your captain off and then say he'll be captain again.
Yeah.
So you'll say probably Dane Zorko will take over the captaincy.
Yeah,
which
exactly. Yeah.
He's a back-to-back best and first winner.
Yeah.
And out of him, Daniel Rich is probably the most successful.
I agree. I'd like to see Daniel Rich become the captain of the Brisbane Lions.
I like see the issue with Rich. He got ever since he went to the Lions, he got compared with Michael Voss.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it. We've been talking about that earlier. In the show that comparison can be a dangerous thing for players.
Oh, yeah, it's a very
In the
dangerous thing. I don't know. I think all the big trades are done. Looking at this thing, apart from Deledio, if Deledio can get done to go to Geelong with the Doggies, apart from the typical O'Meara, Prestia, Hamling, which the only reason why Hamling's a big one now is because he's a premiership player.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like 2015, Joel Hamling wants to trade to Fremantle. People will be like, "Who's Joel Hamling?" Now
Yeah.
he's the guy who. I don't know about you, but I thought he was one of the best when he played on Buddy Franklin.
Well, if you play on Buddy Franklin and keep you scoreless for the majority of the game, then you're going to be seen as a good player, aren't you?
Yeah. So his price, instead of being maybe a late draft pick, he could be medium draft. Looking at the trade list so far, and as far as I know, there's no trades being done. What's the biggest trade so far of the trade period, or trade to be done?
Sam Mitchell is by far the biggest for me that has been done so far.
Mitchell to West Coast?
Sam Mitchell going to West Coast Eagles. I didn't see that one coming. I always thought Sam Mitchell was going to retire at the Hawthorn Hawks. I thought this was going to next year was probably going to be his last year.
Yeah.
But he really did pull a rabbit out of the the Eagles really pulled the rabbit out of the hat.
And it must be, the Eagles must think they're premiership contenders next year, else they would not have got him.
Yeah, so you can see they're building towards something, trying to regain that midfield they had 10 years ago. But I mean,
Oh, nothing will go anywhere near West Coast 2005-6 with Kerr, Cox and Cousins.
yeah. But I think I'm very interested to see this Shuey, Mitchell, and Peters combination happening at the Eagles.
One thing I don't like, especially these days, like 10 years ago, trade period would be so just smooth.
Yeah.
With Twitter and that, there's silly rumours. Like the one yesterday that Dane Zorko, who I was just talking to you about,
Yeah.
was touring North Melbourne.
Right. Yeah.
Zorko signed a $2 million deal this year until the end of 2020. And they say the reason why he's going to head to North Melbourne is because of the money.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Money, if you get $2 million in a 3-year deal, money's not a factor.
Yeah. It's just a good point.
So he'll be staying at the Lions, and the Lions won't get rid of him.
Probably not. You wouldn't think so.
Also, Nathan Fyfe was rumoured to be touring Carlton as well. That, if the Brownlow medalist, one of the best players in the AFL, tours anywhere, even if he goes to Real Madrid and tours that facility, there'll be articles about it. There won't be a guy on Twitter saying, "Oh, Fyfe did this," and people are like, "Oh my god, really?"
Yeah. I understand it completely, and I think that social media has become a very dangerous place and could have proved to be a factor in a decision making by a player. But something we've got to just deal with it because that's the future of media.
Yeah.
Or it is actually the president of the media right now.
I'll just say, if you want to believe newspaper sources, believe any of the journos that you have on any social media.
Yeah.
Like at the moment we've got AFL Trade Talk on as we speak right now. Just see if there's any deal to be done. The only thing that's been so far is that Mitchell had his goodbye.
Yeah.
And one thing, talking about goodbyes, I understand that Bradley Hill was a premiership player for the Hawks.
Yeah.
I have no idea why the Hawks did say thanks for Bradley Hill, and they did a whole package about him.
Well, he's going to play with his brother.
Yeah, I know.
He
but-
left on good terms.
Oh, everyone leaves Hawthorn on good terms, apparently,
Yeah.
apart from Lewis and Mitchell.
Yeah.
But like, he's played for 5 years, didn't play in the 2012 grand final, then played in 3 premierships, and then played again. And then he goes and leaves, goes to Freo, doubtful he'll win a premiership over there.
Yeah, okay.
Even though that guy put $1 million on for Freo to win next year.
Yeah, that's a weird story. We should talk about that later in the show.
Oh, well, yeah, we'll talk about that after we go to a song. We'll probably talk about that. But yeah, I just don't the big farewell and see. Maybe I'm just a different type of fan because everyone seems to be good luck, and I'm just like, why would you leave? I'm not a big fan of players leaving.
Well, I think is he from WA?
Yeah, he's from WA.
So yeah, so he wants to be close to his family. So we just gotta respect it, I guess.
Yeah, and we'll talk about a bit more trades after this here on the Sports Report. That was Landon's by the Birds of Tokyo, which was actually this main song in the 2013 grand final, which is my all-time favorite grand final.
Is it really?
Not my all-time favorite.
Okay, yeah.
No, God, no.
I meant the song, but all right.
Yeah, the song was a good. Yeah, it was Don't know. I realized I got Vance Joy Riptide, and I had this one. I'm just picking the grand final songs.
Yeah. Right.
Just there was a Bulldog player just recently just said he wants to go home to WA, and honestly do not think that Fremantle and West Coast can have all these players.
Well, yeah, that's actually we haven't really spoken about this, but it's just until you've just said it now is what I first noticed is that a lot of players are trying to go back to WA.
Yeah, a lot of I don't know why. I've been in WA once, so I don't know why all these players want to head back. But
Well, they're all
yeah,
a lot of them were born there, so
family reasons.
family reasons is a big one. But yeah, so what's the latest on the drafts?
The drafts.
Sorry, not the drafts. Sorry, the trades.
The trades are pretty much the same. We can also just talk about the women's draft happened on Wednesday.
Right.
So congratulations to every female who got picked up for their club.
Yeah.
So that's going to be good. And hopefully the fixture gets released soon so we know where people are playing and who plays where.
Yeah. That'll be good to know. I think a lot of people are trying to become members of the women's league, so that's good to hear.
I've got a really bad habit. I play with my ring and I keep on dropping it. Well, just before I was playing with it and it fell off the table. It's like, oh, if I lose it, my girlfriend will literally kill me.
Yeah.
Back to footy. And there's other players like you got from Port Adelaide. Brendan Archie wants to go to Gold Coast to play with his brother. Bradley Hill went back to play with his brother.
I thought Archie already played for the Gold Coast.
He's gone back to play with his brother.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay, sorry.
Connection. Cool.
Yeah.
We got this. So I don't know. Just it's such a big trade period. Maybe because players know they can go.
Yeah.
And I think people who want to return home to WA should realise that West Coast are contending for a premiership. Fremantle are trying to get a premiership list together with the players they have. So it's going to be very hard to get there to get into the team. Unless for Fremantle you're forward.
And I think it's because there's a change in management, a new system of management. So there's more managers now trying to get the best deal for their clients, which is nothing new, but I think they're just more aggressive nowadays.
Yeah. I don't think it's good that, you don't want players... I don't think players have too much power, and I agree with everyone who said they do. Like, I understand once you reach 27, 28, and you might want a premiership, and you have two choices. You either go for the premiership, like Nick Dalstan and Brendan Goddard did. Look how that turned out.
Well, the Saints haven't really been up there for a while either, so...
Oh, Saints should be back there next year, though.
Yeah, right.
think with
It only really worked out for Luke Ball.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, it really only... Because Luke Ball went to the Magpies in 2010 after he lost the 2009 grand final and then won the grand final.
And it worked out for James Frawley.
James Foley's another one, yeah. So, the Saints don't have the biggest amount of luck in the league.
Honest, I'm like I said, everyone knows. People who know me knows about footy. I'm not a big fan of players leaving clubs, especially for premiership hunters.
Yeah.
Maybe because I've been a free supporter and I've grown up with Pavlich.
Yeah, exactly.
Who had 07 got the biggest offer since Wayne Carey to go to Adelaide.
Yeah.
And took it back. 2010 he had offers from Gold Coast, offers from Melbourne.
Yeah.
Stayed as well. So maybe because I've grown up around players like Pavlich, Revolt, and Jonathan Brown.
Yeah.
Who at one point Jonathan Brown was actually about to sign with Collingwood in 2006.
Yeah.
But didn't. So seeing all these players move now is the new era of football that I, as a person, should catch up with because I don't like, I I do agree that the days of good one club players are gone,
Yeah.
and that's why
Well, I don't think they're gone, but they're lacking nowadays.
like, I do believe in Nathan Fife is a big possibility to leave Freo next year.
Right. And I think Brent. I mean, you didn't mention Brent Harvey had an offer from Carlton to go to Carlton and be the captain, and he turned that down.
Mm.
So I'm not sure what's going on right now. I think it's just more players want to be known as Premiership players because we see a lot more clubs not getting there for a long amount of time. But I do agree with you. It is a new age of trading, but at the same time, I don't think the era of for having players that's one club players. I don't think that those times are gone.
We're talking about that. Don't you think this makes the Bulldogs Premiership this year such a bit more special?
That they're all first time Premiership players.
Well, yeah, because Suckling didn't play. Yeah, they're all first time Premiership players.
Yeah.
I think they're all playing their first ever grand final.
Yeah, it's true.
And there weren't a list built of players from other clubs.
Yeah, they were homegrown players.
Yeah, I think Hamblin came from another club, and I think another, Tom Boyd.
And hopefully that means they can get more funding going towards the Western Bulldogs, and
Yeah.
within all that, they can get some a better facility that they do
Yeah.
have now.
So maybe the Bulldogs could be a good sign that you don't have to move to a Hawthorn or Geelong to win a premiership.
Well, you don't really have to, but
That's what players do. They move
yeah.
to those.
Well,
good
that's not
clubs.
the only reason. We have seen a lot of homesickness in the last past couple of weeks.
Yeah, but I'm very critical on homesickness. I think you're playing Australian rules football. You know in your contract there's a chance you will leave.
Well, you still have to get your foot in the door.
Oh, you got to get your foot in the door. But if you know you're gonna, they should do what they did with the women's draft. Then nominate. Do you want to move interstate? Because I know Chad Wingard is a good example.
But then again,
approached him and he said,
But then again,
No.
if you got, I mean, a lot of players come from WA, and there's only 2 clubs over there. It's not like Melbourne. We got 10 clubs in Victoria. You got a lot of opportunities in Victoria. Don't have much outside.
well, maybe because I'm just a different type of person. Because my mum moved to New Zealand in 2013, so I lived in Victoria by myself, and now I'm looking at moving interstate if I can get a good full-time job. I'm fine moving away from Victoria. I didn't like Victoria.
Yeah, but I mean, not everyone's like you though. A lot of players like the small. Like, I mean, there's friends as well.
Yeah.
You got to take into account. And I mean, when you play in interstate, when you play in WA and whatnot, and you say for instance you're originally from Victoria, that's a lot of traveling. You got to travel a lot. So, I mean, it is tough, but I do think that we need to take those things into account.
Yeah, we do. That's pretty much all the news we have on the trade period. So we'll head off to a song and we'll get stuck into the A-League round 2 here on the Sports Report. That was Rudimental not giving in here on the Sports Report for 3SSR. Time for now, after a good talk about cricket and some AFL, let's talk about A-League again. Round 2 gets kicked off today, as we spoke about. Adelaide United play the Western Sydney Wanderers in a grand final rematch. Don't know about you, but I honestly think Adelaide will have it in the bag. You might disagree.
I don't know if it's in the bag, but I do think they're going to win the game though.
We'll go down to Saturday. Sydney FC take on the Central Coast Mariners. That one I think is a bit too close to call.
Yeah.
I'll probably put money on the FC. That FC.
Yeah, they had a good game last week, so I do think they're gonna get over the Central Coast Mariners. But that's purely because they're playing at home, though. They're playing a home game.
I don't like soccer nicknames just before that FC.
The FC.
The Storm, the Renegades, the Mariners, that FC. Then we got the Melbourne Derby. Melbourne Victory take on Melbourne City. Tim Cahill's first Melbourne Derby. We'll see how he goes. See how the Victory supporters welcome him, because everyone in Australia loves Tim Cahill, but maybe.
But then again, if you're playing for the
opposition,
enemy,
honestly, this took me by surprise. I honestly thought City / Hart had a better record in the Melbourne Derby, but it's Victory's 8 wins, 5 draws, 6 losses.
Yeah, well, I think it's always an amazing game to watch because there's so much emotion tied up into the Melbourne Derby.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing Tim Cahill into all of that. It's going to be even more interesting to watch. I'm going to be tipping Melbourne City for this one. I'm going to go against the flow of the crowd.
I think so too. I think City's one of the favourites to win this year. City, Brisbane. I think Adelaide is also favourites to win.
Yeah.
So I think City should, like, they made the prelim finals the last 2 seasons, losing to Victory and Adelaide respectively. So I think they win for a big year this year, Melbourne City.
Yeah.
Go with the Sunday. We've got the Newcastle Jets taking on the Brisbane Roar. That's a normal game. I'll say Brisbane. Newcastle finished last year.
They did play good against. Who they played against Perth last week? Was it? I don't think it was.
Yeah,
Perth.
the 3-all draw. Yeah.
Well, they showed some good fight at Newcastle. So if they can bring that type of intensity to this game, I'm gonna go for the Newcastle Jets.
Newcastle's the only team in the A-League that I look at and I'm like, oh yeah, they won a premiership.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, the travel's gonna hurt them this week, coming from Perth back to New South Wales. But I don't see why they can't win it.
Yeah, and then we'll finish the round off in Perth with the Perth Glory taking on the Wellington Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's a
Well, still Wellington's a little bit on the line with their A-League license. It got renewed, but it almost got revoked.
Yeah, Wellington. I remember a few years ago when I think 2010. This is a while ago.
Yeah.
They wanted to sign it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like a 10-year license, but I'm guessing that didn't go through. But should Wellington be part of the A-League because they don't participate in the Asian Championship. If they make it, they wouldn't participate because they're a New Zealand-based club.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't even know why we have a New Zealand club in a country where it's predominantly a rugby country. Look, they're putting up some fight. The supporters seem to like it over there.
Well, I've gone to I went to a game in Wellington when I was over there a few years ago, but it was Melbourne Heart versus Wellington, and
it's boring.
Like, it was just the issue is there's no big rivalry. You can't have. At least you can have Sydney supporters take the hour flight from Sydney to Melbourne to watch the Melbourne versus the Blue Clash. Yeah. You know, you won't expect 10,000 Perth Glory supporters to go all the way to Wellington, pay the probably $300 odd, $400 odd both way tickets.
Yeah.
Then accommodation. I just don't.
I see what you mean. It's not travel worthy. And at the same time, there's no major atmosphere at Wellington. It always looks dark over there. Not a lot of people rock up to the games. The stadium's too big for Wellington, I think.
The stadium's a football stadium. I don't know why it's for soccer or rugby. It's a circle stadium.
Yeah.
That's why St Kilda played there a few years ago.
Well, they do play cricket over there sometimes. Yeah.
So I like Wellington. I do like the Phoenix. I think, but maybe if they add another New Zealand team.
No, that's wasting their time. I think
You
they can
think?
barely get enough supporters for one team.
Oh, they've got two islands over there. They've got the South Island.
They should have just given them a Canberra team.
I don't know why they haven't given them a Canberra team.
Canberra team makes sense.
Canberra, like they have a Canberra in the women's league.
Yeah, and they do have the stadium for it.
They have the stadium. They have the support.
Sport.
I know.
I mean, I watched. I think it was like Iraq versus Saudi Arabia. I think in the it was the Asian International, and they played in Canberra, and the attendance there was amazing. So they do have support over
They've
there.
been pushing for a Canberra team since the start of the A-League, but they're like, oh yeah, you guys pretty much like AFL in Tasmania. Oh, you want a team in Tassie? Okay, we'll make GWS.
Yeah, we'll get you guys.
Oh, you want a team in Canberra? Let's make Gold Coast.
Yeah, I'll get you.
You know, it's been a very weird. It's a weird thing at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Canberra should be. I know they've been thinking about Canberra team for years.
Yeah.
Let's swap codes now. Also on Saturday, you got the Australian Kangaroos play the New Zealand Kiwis in a rugby league test before heading off to England to be part of the Four Nations.
Yeah.
If you know anything about rugby, the Four Nations, it's Australia, New Zealand, and England plus a team from. So if it's in Australia, if it's in England, it'll be Wales, Scotland,
All right.
or Ireland. If it's in Australia/New Zealand, it'll be Samoa, Tonga, Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, I think it's usually Tonga that's usually participates.
Yeah, they play a tournament to win. So I think it's a good game in Perth. I know Perth is a place because they have the Western Force and the rugby union over there. They've been trying to get a team. They had a team, and they're trying to get a team. They want to do a expansion. They had the Brisbane Bombers.
Yeah.
And they had a team in Perth, and they decided to not go for new teams, which makes sense. We got teams like Newcastle Knights and Gold Coast. Gold Coast Titans struggling, and so it's tough to get new teams, and that's why with the AFL they didn't want Gold Coast Suns. They wanted the Gold Coast Kangaroos.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
You know, they don't want. It's much more money to make new teams than it is to relocate teams.
Yep.
Anyways, this has been the sports desk for this beautiful Friday, and believe it or not, me and Jeff only have one more show together, which is in 3 weeks' time.
Yep.
It's been emotional. I'm tearing up right now.
Yeah, I got a little bit over it about 3 weeks ago. But okay, yeah, it's been a great.
Feelings hurt. Hashtag hurt.
It's been a great season.
Anyways, enjoy your day, and we'll be back here in 3 weeks' time. You're listening to this Sports Report.